When Tinubu started with this ticket, he thought that it would sell in the north. But as time went on, the people were more analytical in their mind, and they discovered that, look, let's go to the bigger picture and forget about state and local government. Are we prepared to have a president that will say something now in the next 3 minutes he can't remember? Somebody will have to fill up the space. Are we going to have a president that will show up in a meeting now and you won't see him after 3 weeks? We've seen the movie before. Are we going to have a president who has not been able to answer the question relating to drug-related cases that people have leveled allegation against him? Above all else, are we prepared at this time for a president that does not have in his heart the capacity to unite Nigeria? What singular thing has Tinubu done that suggests unity? This was somebody who said, I never believe in Nigeria. This was somebody who tried to divide the North and the South on the basis of religion. This is somebody from the South has wanted to divide the South along ethnic lines. Now, he does not have the capacity or the temperament of one who will unite Nigeria. We're even talking about unity. Now, let's talk about economy. This is somebody who he will try to replicate what he did in Lagos, in Abuja. Now, what did he do in Lagos? The Alpha Beta, his company, took over the state revenue collection. If he becomes president, FIRS will be taken over by Alpha Beta. Now, reflect other things. When they say his wife supplied diesel, translate it to the national. When they say his son managed billboard, translate it to the national. It becomes a dynasty rather than a democratic government where everybody will have a feel of Nigeria. So if you look at it from left, right, center, from character and fitness, from intellectualism, from mental stability, from agility, from the sense of unity, he does not stand a chance.
A few years later.
So you made your point. I get the glass half full. I get the context. I also understand basic mathematics. Let me ask you this. President Tinubu only declared a national emergency in November of 2025, brought in a raft of policy changes. After Trump declared your country to be a country of particular concern for failing to deal with the threat of Christians, does your government only spring into action when it is internationally shamed into doing so?
Unfortunately for you, 6 months before that, we arrested the leaders of La Kurawa and Boko Haram. Some months before that, we killed a certain number of terrorists that the U.S. government, State Department, commended Nigeria. The U.S. Embassy celebrated the fact of the exploit of Nigeria before Donald Trump said that.
But again, he shamed you, and you declared a national emergency. You didn't do it before he shamed you.
We declared the national emergency 6 months before Donald Trump's statement.
No, that's not true.
The president
of November of 2025.
No. Much earlier, around, I think, April or May, the president declared national emergency on insecurity.
But the actual national emergency was in November.
How can it be actual?
People can look this up. Let's talk about kidnappings. The world remembers Chibok in 2014, when 276 schoolgirls were taken by the militant group Boko Haram. Very little has changed, unfortunately, in Nigeria. Just last November, 250 students and staff were kidnapped from St. Mary's Catholic School in Niger State. 2 years into Tinubu's presidency, Nigerian research firm SBM Intelligence said, and I quote, Nigeria's kidnap for ransom crisis has consolidated into a structured, profit-seeking industry. That's embarrassing for your country that you have a kidnapping industry.
I agree with the fact that the insecurity associated with kidnapping has now become a crisis economy. But much more than that, I know of our government's effort in dealing with that insecurity. If you have a little understanding of the nature and the boundary and the geographical measurement of Nigeria and the tendency for insecurity to come in, then you will understand that we're fighting a hydra-headed insecurity situation. With respect to the kidnapping of children, the government has taken measures already. We've introduced what we call Save the School, where students and schools that are in remote places where there is no security are brought back into state capital where they get the education that they need.
But Nigerian people don't believe you. 2 out of 3 Nigerians say that
Where did
security...
you get that information?
Africa Barometer. May of 2024, 2 out of 3 Nigerians say security agencies are handling the abduction of Nigerians fairly badly or very badly. 1 in 3 Nigerians say they personally know someone who's been kidnapped.
Yeah, you have
These are stunning statistics. Amnesty, Human Rights Watch have lined up to say that you have allowed impunity to flourish, you have failed to apply lessons from previous attacks, damning indictments of your security service.
I put it to you, that's not what they said.
That's not what Amnesty said?
Yes. Amnesty...
I've literally got the quote right here.
Quote it.
The authorities' failure has allowed impunity to flourish and the killings to spread to many parts of the country.
Source.
Amnesty International, February 8th, 2026.
Well, I'm not aware of that one.
You're not aware of that one?
I am
at
aware.
The weekend,
I'm aware.
At the weekend, you put out a video to music of you and a team researching and prepping for this show. And yet every time I've asked you something, you say, I'm not aware of that. What were you researching in that video?
You're really funny. Let me tell you
I'll ask you a
this.
serious question. Amnesty
No.
International, you asked me for a
If
source,
you ask
I read out the source. You asked me for a date, I read out the date. What's your response other than picking up glasses of water?
No, Amnesty has a history of calling everything bad.
Okay.
A few moments later.
This entire Mehdi Hassan saga was a setup. You were sent there and set up, knowing that, assuming that you would fail, you would struggle and probably fail, and that would portray you in bad light before your principal. Is there any substance?
I will reserve my comment regarding that because
Daniel, please.
I don't believe.
The public has a right to know.
Yes, but I don't believe in one. I don't believe in crying. I know what is going on.
Yes.
Right from when I was appointed.
Yes.
I know. In fact, it is beyond just assuming. These are things
We have to place it because I don't have evidence. That's why I'm asking you.
And I am not about
to hear from the horses.
to be honest with you, sir. All the places I've been to, I have always de-emphasized conversation around my person. I've not been appointed to speak about myself. It's to speak about the president and his program.
Absolutely.
That is where you see my best, And I'm not the type of person that will complain about what is going on.
But there is division, there's disunity.
It's up to you guys in the media.
No, confirm it. You're the man in the eye of the storm.
Let me tell you.
You're the man in the eye of the storm. So let this go to rest. Let's
See. Let's just proceed. Let's proceed.
Okay.
Sometimes people will cook things in the media, sponsor bloggers. There is nothing that didn't happen in this last time, including opinion people, high profile, that we are given the brief to write opinion against me, that way the president will be convinced. Skit makers.
They were hired.
2 out of these people reached out to me and said, I couldn't take that type of nonsense because I know who you are. I'm talking of prominent people. I'm not talking of social media only. But with all those things, was the president moved? He knows who I am. In terms of commitment, he knows my commitment. The president knows if I'm not committed to him, I will not come and work with him. What he has done to me in terms of drawing me close, forgiving me about all, he knows that it's like a renewed energy in me to want to repay for the kind of large heart.
That as the father has welcomed
for the large heart. Some people are not comfortable with that. Some people are not comfortable with that. And that's why you see all those things. When I see
minded the fact that you were actually part of that family before.
Where were they? When I was with him. And one good thing about the president is 99.9% of people who are standing now taking stone and stoning somebody. Jesus said, let who has not sinned among you, let him be the first to cast a stone. 99% of the people doing that have all in their history worked against Aswaju. I'm talking of even people closest to him. But you see, we live in a world where, like in the days of Jesus Christ, even the afflicted wants to afflict another person.